It's the 2007 SCCA National Championship Runoffs. D-Sports racer last year got off to a great start. Pole sitter J.R. Osborne in the early lead. But very quickly, it was the number 2 of Mark Jaremko out front. He would go on to dominate the race as Osborne pitted after the second lap. There was lots of shuffling mid-pack as 61 Steve Shelton makes a big move on Kevin Mintz in the number 13. Shelton would continue the charge, rocketing by the 33 of Joel Weinberger. Weinberger, big problems, engine failure. Dorian Foyle in the number 81 chased John Bender in the number 11 for the second spot. But at the line, it was Mark Jaremko with his 4th national championship in 5 years. D-Sports Racing has gained the slogan, Spec Racers on Steroids. The performance gains the last few years have been absolutely stunning. And over the last 5 years, the benchmark has been set by Mark Jaremko. 1, because of supreme talent, but 2, because of the ever-evolving store chassis he works for. Dressed out in carbon fiber, these things are rockets. 4 golds in 5 years, he's got to be the favorite. But a guy who might knock him off that perch is J.R. Osborne. He out-qualified Jaremko right here at the runoffs last year. He had the pole at the June sprints. He's rocket quick, and he's determined. But you can't forget about Jean-Luc Liverato, a former spec racer driver, and this guy is having the time of his life. Won the Southeastern Division with 10 national wins. He is super quick, and look for him to go to the front. Dorian Foyle is also driving a store WF1 chassis, in fact, chassis 001. It's only his 3rd year in the DSR category, however, only his 2nd runoffs, but last year he got a bronze. He's a quick learner. Another guy driving the store chassis is Chris Farrell, but he's running the heavier fiberglass bodywork. This is his 1st year of any type of SCCA competition. The previous 10 years, a professional shifter kart driver. He told me this is just a big, fast shifter kart. And Tom Boots, he's running a Speeds chassis. It's only his 2nd year of road racing of any kind. The previous 33 years, he's been autocrossing, but he won the Great Lakes Division. Keep an eye on Mr. Boots. Welcome to the 44th running of the Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs presented by AT&T. Today the class is a spectacular one, D-Sports Racing. This class was created in 1966. It's its 41st year at the runoffs, but it's based in a class called D-Modified that predates that by 10 years, the creation of the runoffs. A lot of history here. Welcome to Heartland Park, Topeka, Kansas. D-Sport Racing's Run for the Gold at the Olympics of Amateur Motorsports. Hi, everybody. Greg Creamer, Dan Binks, here in the booth, John Bizignano and Sandy Hang covering the action down in pit lane. And we talked about how spectacularly quick these cars are with this newly reconfigured track, Danny. Faster still by a bunch.
Yes, it is faster by a bunch. What happened here is they changed turn 1. It used to go down and over and make it really sharp. These cars are going to be super fast through 1 and 2. Up into 5 and 6. 6 is going to be very important. And this new section here, turn 9, super fast in these cars. We are watching it in practice. They're just sick fast in there.
Absolutely spectacular. And here's a little bit about the sports racing category. And there's DSR.
Yeah, they're purpose-built race cars. Pure race cars. Downforce. Big downforce.
Lots of tunnels, and that means lots of grip and lots of speed. Sandy, it should be spectacular. What's going on in pit lane?
Well, I want to tell you a little bit about a former silver medalist in this class. It's the number 55 of Roy Maxwell. He's not starting up the front. In fact, he's starting near the back. He says, look, I have no aspirations of winning this race, but I do plan to go out there and pass a few cars. You see, he's a silver medalist from 1990. Silver medal in this race 17 years ago, but it's all about the fun, guys. Let's go down to my colleague, John Bizignano. Biz?
Well, it might be a little bit more serious up here in the 5th qualifying position. Joshua Held is actually very pleased to be here. He's never been to this track before, and everyone in front of him has been here several times. He won 6 out of 7 starts this year, a lot of confidence. He's the champion in the North Pacific Division. The plan is to keep with the lead group and make a move in the last 5 laps.
And at the top, we had talked a little bit about the evolution in terms of performance. Just to give you a clue, in qualifying this year, 10 seconds faster than last year. Now, that was the track, but look at these cars. And one of the things, you look at a lot of the cars, they're in pure carbon fiber trim because of weight. they're saving a lot of weight over the fiberglass bodies.
Yeah, basically like in our race cars, it's about 30 pounds of paint. What you have to do is put the primer on and then the paint. 30 pounds is a big deal. These cars weigh, 800-900 pounds when they're all done. 30 pounds is a big percentage.
And then you have fiberglass versus the carbon bodies. There's weight there, so they're saving everything. And it all translates into speed around the race course. And we're going to see that when we come back. Coming up, the green flag in D Sports Racing. Welcome back to Heartland Park, Topeka, where the nimble missiles called D Sports Racers are about to set off on 18 laps of national championship runoffs racing at its best. This is going to be spectacular. I want to take you to the starting lineup, and it is a pretty fascinating one at that. First of all, the guy who is on the pole, we mentioned at the top of the show, he had out-qualified the four-time medalist Mark Jaremko last year. He did it again. J.R. Osborne, a great effort. But he DNF'd last year with a mechanical problem, so he's looking to be able to make it a little bit better. Jaremko alongside, 4 golds, 2-time top 5 or pole qualifier. Then in the third spot, Chris Farrell driving the first of the fiberglass body cars. Then you're going to take a look at the number qualified back in 10th, the first non-store. I think that says something about that chassis, Danny.
Yeah, those cars are really fantastic. Dick Coburn started 15th. He finished 3rd in 1997. Another note is the number 3 car, Carl Mayer, won't be starting.
He won't be starting. Let's get down to John Bizignano. What's happening, John?
Well, guys, I tell you, the prototype racing, which is the name for this overall class, is actually getting more popular here in North America, mostly due to American Le Mans and the Grand Am Series. I have got to think that a D-Sport Racer champion has a great credential to go to these professional teams and say, hey guys, give me a tryout. Sandy Heng.
One of the fast cars that we haven't talked about yet is the number 16 of Tim Miklos, the racing radiologist. He qualified 6th. He and his buddy, Chris Farrell, they bought these cars just last year. He's the number 58 is his buddy. So they've been racing together and actually doing quite well. One other quick story I want to tell you about is the number 3 you just mentioned. I found out why he didn't show up today. He happened to sell the car yesterday. And, Binks, it's one of those things. When you're getting rid of one, you got your eye on another. And so that's why Carl isn't in the race. He doesn't want to wreck what he just sold.
Yeah, no doubt. If you have an opportunity to sell a race car, that just means a brighter future for a new one.
Absolutely. Here's a look at Jean-Luc Liverato. We met him at the top of the show, and he is going for the Triple Crown. He won his division, the Southeastern Division, and as I mentioned at the top, 10 wins. He also, in that streak, won the June Sprints, the second most prestigious of SCCA club races. And if he wins the runoffs here, well, that's going to be a very, very special thing indeed. Not a lot of people could say they're a Triple Crown winner. And one of the things that's of concern, we're looking at the maps, that is heading our way, and we have had some unbelievable weather here all weekend long, particularly on Saturday. There's a front on the maps that is coming. When it hits is going to be the issue. We hope the last couple of races here in this 07 runoffs get through in the dry, but you never know. It's going to be interesting, Dan.
Yes, it is. This race is very fast. If it's dry, it will be a short race, and nobody wants to run in the rain, not in these cars. They make big downforce. With wet tires, they're going to slip slide around. It's not going to be a lot of fun.
Exactly. And Biz's comment about if you could drive one of these well in the prototype car, you're driving cars with a lot of ground effects, tunnel and downforce, and that's what prototype racing in the pro ranks is about too. Grip. And this is a great training ground. There's no question of that. All right, here we go. Car on the right qualified. Second, Jaremko, the 4-time gold medalist. Car on the inside, the all-black carbon fiber store. That is his second straight pole, and we are green. 18 laps. D Sports Racing is underway, and Osborne got a huge jump and looked to move down to the inside. Farrell in that very bright colored car tried to make the move, but Storr covered it. But Liverato, what a great start. 4th into 2nd.
Yeah, it looked like he caught Jaremko sleeping. That doesn't happen very often.
No.
That guy is usually on top of his game. I'm not sure what happened, but they just took off.
Well, Jean-Luc Liverato last year ran in CSR, and the previous 2 years was in the Spec Racer Ford category. And there you see what we're talking about. That group right up at the top, all the store chassis have just taken off, and they really have stepped it up. This new store chassis has rewritten the rules in this class, and there's a nice move down the inside there.
Yeah, these cars have big power, 200 plus horsepower, and you can see the extreme. That white car there is an old school car, but yet he's able to run with these guys. I think they're going to pick them off one by one.
Well, those old school cars, because they don't have ground effects and a little less drag in a straight line, are fast, but they have to get out of it so much more in the corners that they just can't carry that speed anywhere near around the lap. Plus, you look at those older cars, they're much narrower, and that also, of course, affects things just a little bit. And here we go. There is Jaremko. There is the number 58 of Farrell. And look at this move here, right down underneath. A beautiful move. And Farrell let it go. There's the number 4 of Gardner. But Farrell was able to get it back. So a pass and a repass. Farrell in that bright green colored car. And that is the highest placed car running a fiberglass body. And Danny, you talked about the weight of the paint. But with the paint on the fiberglass body, he says it's about 70 pounds difference to the lighter carbon fiber cars. And look at this run by 94 Dave Arkin. That is hanging on in front of the Speeds chassis of Tom Boots. That is another of the non-store cars, and Boots having a very solid run.
Yeah, Boots' car is very, very fast. You can see the old car there is very fast on the straightaway, the 94 Dave Arkin.
It's an old AMAC chassis with an AMW AM5 engine in it, so pretty remarkable stuff here at this stage. And Boots has gotten around him, but as you said, he has not yet been letting these other guys get through.
No, he's not. He's trying as hard as he can. You know, and 10 years ago, that AMW engine was the state of the art. You know, and now it's just not. It's got good power, but the car just can't keep up with these big, wide, low downforce cars, or big downforce cars, but low in stature. And
there is the 36 of Boots, who once he got around Arkin has been able to draw it away just a little bit in that 9th spot. There is your leader, J.R. Osborne. And he's opened it up by about a second and a half. Actually, it looks like he stretched that a little bit more, maybe more like 2 to 2.5 seconds right now. Osborne is hooked up. Yeah, you can see he can jerk the steering wheel. That thing just has so much downforce. They're saying these cars have 1,000 pounds of downforce at 120 miles an hour. That's incredible. They change direction like fighter planes as opposed to race cars. It's spectacular. Liberato in second. Jaremko, the 4-time medalist, in third.
One of the most popular cars in this class is the Store, and it started in Lee Store's basement. The current car was a clean sheet of paper in the year 2000, and then in 2005 he brought in Wayne Felch, an aerodynamicist, worked on ground effects, lean movements for the car, and now it's flat out fast in this field. It's been quite a ride for Lee. What's it like building a business from the ground up?
Well, it's been fantastic to win 5 straight national championships, and now our business has expanded into advanced composites and design work for outside clients.
It's been a good business for him. This car, without the engine, in the range of maybe $70,000.
Which is not a bad size check to have to write for this level of performance. It's unbelievable. And it was 5 years ago that Store created the 01D, which was not a huge ground effects car. It was quicker, certainly. And then a couple of years ago, they did this WF1, which is wide open ground effects, and it just has rewritten the class. It really has rewritten the class. You know, being all carbon fiber, pretty trick car. You know, these guys know what they're doing. They've built trick cars over the last 7 or 8 or 10 years, and this last one is really a step up. That was Lee Store, the guy who had this concept and has made it come to fruition, and it is pretty remarkable. And the guy who's done the development is the guy in that black car, Mark Jaremko. And when you develop it and on the way, you get 4 gold medals in development. That's a pretty good proving ground, and that's why the top 9 qualified cars in this class today are Stores. Yes, they were talking about they were hoping for another gold medal. I think that they have a lock on the gold medal and probably the other couple too. I would think so at this stage, and it's interesting. Now, Jaremko, here's the interesting thing, where the chassis are pretty much the same. Jaremko is running a 1000cc Yamaha engine, and Liberato, who has now jumped into second, and this is one of the reasons he got that. He's running the Suzuki GSX R1000 engine. He said it's torquier, it's got better low-end pull out of the corners. He put it to good use on the straight and got in. That's where you can massage things a little bit in the Stores, is in the engine compartment. Right, you can fit different engines, and that makes it nice because some guy might have a sponsor from this guy or that guy. And Jaremko's got a battle on his hands here. Boy, he does, and the guy who's really impressive right now is the 81 of Joshua Held in that third car on your screen. The white entry as Farrell gave Jaremko a look, couldn't get done. Now Jaremko's got to deal with traffic. That may have cost him in terms of the run. Farrell definitely has a draft. He's tucked in behind. See if he can do anything. He pops to the inside, and Jaremko feints to that side. So Farrell now thinks about it, but just decides, nah, I'm going to tuck right back in. And they whistle down through 1 and 2. There's that bump. These cars really, you get unsettled over that bump. Farrell got a great run. Looks to the inside going into 3. Boy, he checked up big time. I wonder why he did that, because it looked like he could have just driven it right down in there.
It did look like he could, but sometimes, you know, you just don't want to take a chance of bending your car. He needs to have a better shot to pass him clean. There's coming up on some traffic. Maybe he'll get a shot. And he just spins it around there. You could see how early he got on the gas and just spun the rear tires, and away he went.
Well, again, these cars, the performance is amazing. And out of those motorcycle engines in the back of these things, you know how quick those rockets accelerate. They're unbelievable.
Yeah, they jump on the gas. They put 200 horsepower down, and he's on the gas right there, and it just leaves. Spins on around, leaving black marks. Did a pretty good job of not wrecking it there. He should be able to get going maybe 7th, 8th place.
So Joshua Held will inherit 4th spot right now. And now for Chris Farrell, the job begins of working his way back up through the pack in a quest for a medal here. J.R. Osborne leads over Liberato and Jaremko. The Sports Car Club of America's National Championship Runoffs, the Olympics of amateur road racing, the best in the country after a summer of divisional racing at the national level, come to Heartland Park, Topeka in one race to determine the medalist. D Sports Racer, one of the most spectacularly quick of all the cars, is under contest today. There's the 31 of David Gomberg, and he's sitting in the 14th spot right now. And look who's coming up and working through the field already, as the guy just behind Gomberg is Coburn is coming up, and Osborne got through in a big hurry. We are 5 laps into this race, and already the leader, Osborne, is lapping traffic up as high as 15th.
Yeah, Osborne's going to have to be really careful here. He's passing cars that are, 10, 15 seconds off of what he can do in those old school cars. And right now he just needs to be really patient. He's got an 8-second lead. He just needs to pick them off one at a time when he can.
And the problem with that old school concept is you look back there, they don't have the ground effects, they don't have the width of the cars. Even Coburn's car is a converted Atlantic car of sorts, but it is not a car that has ground effects, and that's what makes it a little bit different. The rules have been rewritten, and we're watching this battle for 5th, actually for 4th. That's Josh Held with Miklos right behind him at this point, and they are having a very good go. And behind them, you can see Dorian Foyle is tucked back in, but this is the battle right there. There is Dorian coming up on Miklos, trying to figure out a way to get around and crack that top 5.
Yeah, it looks like Foyle's last couple laps have been faster, but with the traffic and then just getting a clean lap to get by the 16 is very hard.
And once again, there's the number 31 of David Gomberg. He had that light off, and maybe it damaged the car a little bit. That's a cheetah, and he finds himself now off track and stopped. And by the way, it was a cheetah in 2001 in the hands of Mark Hoover, was the last non-store to win DSR. So that's how quick this technology has changed. We're going to go back and watch this battle over 5th and see if Dorian Foyle has an answer here as he's trying to run down Miklos.
Yeah, it looks like he slipped wide there, leaving 6, and paid the price down the straightaway here. He just needs to get his tires cleaned off, focus on the guy in front of him, and see if he can chase him down.
Foyle driving the Foyle Asset Management store, and Miklos behind the wheel of the George Dean Engine store.
Yeah, here's some lap traffic here. He saw him letting both of them by. Yep, very clean. That's a, it's a race inside of a race here with some of those older cars, and those guys just need to be paying attention, and obviously he was.
Yeah, he did a very nice job, and I think they've accepted the speed differential here. It's a reality, no point trying to race these guys. I think the bigger question is for these old school cars, if we want to keep racing DSR, what do we do? In the early days, this class, along with C Sports Racing, was a tinkerer's class, a home engineer, put the car, put it together in the garage and go race it. I don't think you can do that anymore with the technology. You got to buy a car that can run at this level.
Yeah, you need to buy a car. When I was a kid, my dad raced a D Sports Racer, H Modified, and you know, those days are long gone. You can't build it at home with some tubing, and you need to be aerospace, carbon fiber. It's pretty trick cars.
They are trick, but boy, are they impressive. And there is Liverato's store coming after them. Welcome back. D Sports Racing underway for the runoffs. This is the start if you're just joining us. And a good jump from the second row, the number 8 with the blue trim. Liverato jumps into second and starts the move. However, watch this right here. A beautiful move down and underneath as Joshua Held picked up a spot in the early going. And then the 58. Big spin by Chris Farrell. Kept it off the walls, but it's dropped well back. He's in 8th now. And there's a fire in the number 21 of Timothy Gonzalez. That's a store. That's one of the older stores. He is out.
Yeah, that's big trouble here. They're going to have to fill that car with, they're squirting Purple K in there or old fire extinguisher. That car is going to be a mess.
Well, see if we can figure out what happened here.
Yeah, it looks like he's got trouble smoking, and just there's obviously a fuel leak or oil leak or something in there big time. That car is going to have severe damage. This carbon fiber, once it gets burnt, it's just like a rag. It burns all the epoxy out of it, and it's no good anymore. He's just lucky to get out and you know, have to rebuild the car over the winter.
Absolutely, and he's lucky it happened where it did. He's able to pull into pit in where there's a lot of marshals standing around with fire bottles, and they got there in a hurry. But he's got it licking at the back of that helmet. He got out, and there he is, just sitting down, relaxing. I'm sure it was a spooky moment, but again, boy, nice to have those corner workers and marshals handy with those fire bottles. Get over there and help take care of you.
Yeah, they got over there, shot it underneath the car, put it out with as little damage as possible. I'm not sure he knew how big a fire that really was.
I think you're absolutely right. I think he just, I've got something going on at the back here. I can see some flames looking. I had no clue just how intense it is. Now, here's the 36 of Tom Boots, the battle for 9th in that beautiful Speeds chassis. That's really the guys that designed this. You can see they took some styling cues from the old Audi R8 and the ALMS series. You look at that nose, very, very familiar. And behind him is the number 18 of Harvey Goldman in one of those new trick stores.
Yeah, Goldman looks like he's running about the same laps. He's just got to pick his spot here, see if he can make something happen.
And they're coming up. Oh, look at this. The battle for second getting pretty intense. Check that. That's the battle for third. Jaremko with Joshua Held. And there is Liverato. So essentially, Jaremko has closed it up on Liverato a little bit. So the battle for second might be getting even closer here. And, you know, one of the things, folks, certain spots on the track, if you get held up by traffic, you lose a little bit, it can come back or go away in a big hurry. And some of these margins look like 3, 4, 5 car lengths. Well, in a corner or two, they could close up to almost nothing. And it just is the action. And there's Jaremko. Look like that right there. Look how close now Held got to Jaremko.
Yeah, it looked like Jaremko got held up a little bit, getting by those lap cars, and Held just pulled up on him. The first 5 cars here are within 3/10 of a second.
And we talk about these cars, these chassis essentially being very, very similar. But, and Tom Boots, who had such a great run. And I'll tell you what, this guy's such a great story. Last year was his first year in this type of car. 33 years he's been running autocross and decides to jump into a D Sports racer. Had a good run last year. Qualified in the top 10 here this year, the highest placed non-store, and that says something, and apparently it's all gone away for him. But what I was going to talk about was these chassis are all identical, but you can run different engines, and of course tires. You can run different tires and setup in the car, so I mean it's not spec by any means.
No, it's not spec. You can have your own shock absorbers. Basically, they're keeping the aero package the same. You can adjust the wings to your liking, and all different wheels, all different tires, soft compound, heavy, you know, whatever you want, you can put on these cars.
All right. And then you put a beating on the field if your name is J.R. Osborne. He's up by 12 seconds with 8 laps to go. The battle for the silver medal continues to rage here at Heartland Park, Topeka. Jean-Luc Liverato right there currently runs second. 4-time gold medalist Mark Jaremko behind him in third. And behind Jaremko, the number 81 of Joshua Held in his first runoff. So a pretty remarkable story there as well for Joshua. 6 wins, though, in the Northern Pacific Division in that Dean Race Engines and Stock Shop Storr, obviously very talented. When you just decimate a division like that, and Norpek's pretty well known, Norpek's well known for the D Sports Racing category. That's a pretty impressive performance. But now look, as Jaremko all over the back of Liverato, Sandy, and those guys in the Liverato camp got to be getting a little nervous.
Who's watching closely is Chris Young, who is the crew chief for Liverato. You've been watching closely. These guys are in his mirror. Any chance they can get around him? Can he hold him off?
I think we're going to be able to hold him off. We're just more worried about Osborne right now. We believe Osborne's tires are going to fall off, and he's already started falling off on the lap times. We've been pretty consistent. So we're just kind of pacing ourselves right now, waiting for that.
Okay, that's Chris Young, his crew chief for the number 8.
Yeah, he better be careful pacing himself. Jaremko just turned one of the fastest laps of the race, and so did Held. So I wouldn't mess around if I was Liverato.
Yeah, they dipped into the 27s. Liverato with a 28-1 and a 28 flat for the leader. And they're going to drop back a little bit further back. Here's that battle for 5th with Timothy Miklos and Dorian Foyle. Got it running at it big time. Foyle now actually has Gardner coming up behind. Is that Gardner? No, he's gone around him. That's what's happened. Foyle has gone around Miklos and has picked up the 5th spot. And now Miklos has to figure it out. But boy, Foyle ran way wide there, got up on that curb on the exit. And that's not necessarily the quickest way you want to get around that corner. You want to get to that apex through turn 7 or to turn 6 and get the run up to 7. Doesn't look like it hurt Foyle too bad.
No, it looks like that car's got pretty big power. He was hounding the Timothy right there really hard and finally got by him.
Oh, and he's looking at him, and here it is. Liverato now has Jaremko right there. They've both drawn away just a little bit from Joshua Held in the silver car in the back. Jaremko, though, comes out of that last turn within a car length of Liverato. Liverato able to pull him just a little bit down the front straight, but through 1 and 2, here comes Jaremko.
Yeah, what happens here is when you get close to a car with big downforce and the tunnels are underneath, it shoots the air up like a big cloud, and it pushes the front tires, and you can see Jaremko has to take a different line leaving the corner just to get some air on the front of that car.
Oh,
he's got
man, I think maybe Liverato messed up going into that turn, Dan. It looked like it was a very sudden deal, like he locked up, missed a gear, something, and Jaremko really lucky not to hit him and still make the pass.
Yeah, he was. He shot inside of him clean, and he knew he made a mistake. He just needed to follow him through then.
Now we'll see, boy. Liverato, though, getting the run, closing right up into this incredibly quick 8-9 complex. They sweep through here. Now we'll see. Liverato actually lost a little bit of ground through there, but he's still back in the area where he can get a tow. Nope, not going to get it done as we head down into turn 10.
Looks like Liverato's car is very, very fast on the straightaway.
Well, he may be able to put that to good use in his quest to end up with a medal. He's a bronze right now.
D-Sport Racer represents some of the highest technology in all of SCCA competition. These are two beautiful examples made by Storr. But back here we have David Arkin, and maybe he's known as David and Goliath because he has shown up with his Squirt. I've got to ask you, David, how are you and the Squirt going to compete with these $70,000 beauties?
We bring high horsepower and lightweight to the table, and that's going to be our advantage at this track. They're going to be very competitive on a lot of the corners, and I'm going to be very competitive on some others. So if this race comes to us just a little bit, it's going to be really exciting for me and for everybody else.
Yeah, those engines that they run in there make tremendous power. And the one thing with that little narrow look to it, that car does not push a big hole through the air, and it doesn't have the drag of the ground effects in a straight line. It is fast.
Yes, it is very fast down the straightaway. It looks like the nose is coming apart here, like maybe it's wore off and it's separated, and that's not going to be good for aero down the straightaways.
Yeah, when that splitter starts dabbing on the ground, it starts bouncing air out from underneath the car. Meanwhile, J.R. Osborne continues to run. Now, he has had a flawless race right now, although Jaremko is running lap times as quicker, but there's a big margin, and Osborne could probably drive the gap. But got to have a little bit of a heart in the throat because he was impressive last year and then DNF because of a mechanical problem. And these cars can be finicky. We've seen the fire. We've seen a couple others break. When you wind something this tight, things snap.
Yeah, they do. The engines are really pushed hard. The transmission's pushed really hard. There's a lot of debris on the track from people running off. We've seen them all over the track, and anything can happen.
Well, let's find out what they're thinking down in Osborne's pit. Biz?
Well, we're with Richard Cottrell, who is the engine builder. Rich, I got to tell you, I think you're the first engine builder we've interviewed all weekend long. Congratulations on that. No one gets this kind of lead without a power advantage. What do you have working out there?
Yeah, we've been developing the new Suzuki 1000 2007 GSXR. Took a bit of a gamble, spent 3 months developing it, and it's proving to have 7 mile an hour top speed over the last year's 06 engine.
How many horsepower are you pushing out?
Around 200.
All right, it's going to make it to the finish.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I'll tell you what, guys, what a great Ringo Starr imitation. I don't think these guys are from Topeka.
That was great. He passed the audition, John.
Yeah, I think he was being nice when he said 200 horsepower, too. I think they might have a little bit more than that.
A little bit more than that. You think about it, give or take, depending upon the bodywork and the paint, those cars about 1,000 pounds. That's a pretty spectacular power to weight ratio that you're dealing with right here. As you watch now, that was Joshua Held coming through and getting around the 78 of Dave Knack, who's having himself a solid run again in a little bit older technology. And that number 78, that's called a Fast Car MK1, and sponsored by Hankook and the Underwear Gnomes. So that's an interesting package. But the interesting thing about that is one of those cars that's home engineered.
Yeah, these guys take care of it themselves and decide what they're going to do. Don't have professional engineers as such as the store guys do.
That makes a difference. Liberato looked like he was a little sluggish coming off of turn number 5 right there. So wonder if he may not be having a little bit of a gearbox issue.
Right, he might have got past there earlier. Maybe it looks like third gear might be giving him trouble.
All right, well, that means he's got a little bit of a fight on his hand because Joshua Held is not that far back. Heartland Park Topeka is seeing the D Sports Racer category National Championship runoff at serious speed is the only way to put it here. Mark Jaremko sitting in second, and Liberato, for the potential maybe of a problem, we think, has found a way to deal with it because he's closed right back up again on the back end of Jaremko with about 5 car lengths difference. So sometimes if it is a little gearbox issue, you can figure out a way to go through it. And oh no, the number 16 has pulled off track. Timothy Miklos, after having such a great run, that wonderful battle with Dorian Foyle off to the side. And this is what we talked about. When you're fast and you're just twisting things so much here, things get a little finicky.
Yeah, these cars are very fragile, as we talked about before, and it looks like he had some type of power problem and it just shut down.
I got to ask you, you have to make this point because this is spectacular. When we were talking about in the break and you looked at me and gave me a stat talking about the power to weight ratio of these cars, if the numbers are right.
Yeah, if roughly these things are 1,000 pounds, they make 200 horsepower. It's about the same power to weight ratio as our Corvettes are, and that's pretty impressive for a club racing class.
Man, those American Le Mans Corvettes are spectacular, so that gives you an idea of just what these guys are dealing with out here. And they're starting to work some traffic, and oh boy, Liberato got a great run. I don't know whether Jaremko bobbled something, and I think that was a pretty aggressive move by Jaremko to block. I think the stewards might be looking at that. You're not allowed to block. You can certainly defend, but that was a blatant block. He bobbled and saw Liberato coming on and just turned over on him.
Yeah, that gets very dangerous when you make more than one move. The deal is usually you get the first move, and when you get 2 moves like that, you know, he looks like he messed up here. He starts going to the side. He's in the middle of the track. Then he just forces him over to the inside and then takes the line, which is very, very dangerous.
And we are on our final lap for J.R. Osborne, the margin 11 seconds. So this is the battle right now, and that can incense Liberato right now. So going to see what happens. Liberato taking a run, not going to get it there. Quickly down to Sandy Hang.
Well, I was just talking with Bruce Geiger. He says it's not like Jaremko to make a mistake. He's a very good driver, a very technical driver. Let's watch that last lap, guys.
Exactly. It was just a little bit of a bobble. Don't exactly know what caused it, but Liberato got a tremendous run.
Liberato has been putting the heat on him, and I don't think Jaremko has had that in the last couple of years. And these guys are, you know, really, really close and really fast cars.
All right, here we go. The last lap. Last time down this back straight, and this blast through turns 8 and 9. And some traffic in front for Jaremko. and it's a fairly slow car. It's the Arkin, and here comes Liverato on the outside. Liverato going to use that car as a pick, comes across. Now Jaremko, big dive bomb, move to the inside. Does he make it stick? He does. Liverato, I don't think he can believe what just happened there. He had him clean, and here we go. Osborne onto the front straight, and he is going to finally get the gold medal after pole last year in a DNF. He brings it home for the gold. Nicely done there, and Jaremko is going to come out of that last turn with enough of a margin in hand to pick up the silver with Liverato in third. And after Liverato used that traffic beautifully, Jaremko's move to the inside was superb. I mean, that was executed beautifully.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to be able to do that. He got held up there, and man, he just shot down the inside and took the line away. That was an impressive move.
It was, and to make it stick on the exit when you carry that kind of speed in, but nobody knows the limits of a store chassis quite like Mark Jaremko, and used it to perfection. Let's go back and take one more look at that, because it was so spectacular as Osborne enjoying his cool-off lap, and deservedly so. What a great dominating run he put in that all-black car. It's kind of a mean look on top of it with that helmet matching the carbon fiber colors and enjoying it. And here is Jaremko. And obviously he's got the visors snapped up, just getting some air in the car with Liverato right behind him. Liverato not getting the Triple Crown, but getting a medal. But look at this, Danny.
Yeah, they shoot into turn 9 here. They got the 94 coming up ahead there, Dave, and he gets a shot on him. Liverato does. Blocks the line a little bit. Jaremko just shoots down on the inside and says, I'm not going to put on the brakes till right here. Takes the line away, and we've seen guys fly off there. Jaremko slowed up enough, blocked a little bit, clean to the line.
It was a great move, and I almost wonder if that was caused Jaremko saw that white Arkin and eased out of it just for a second to try and not run up on him too quick, and Liverato never lifted. Meanwhile, Biz, the number 83 Osborne's crew, they got a champion.
They have a champion, and they made him a champion. Congratulations, Ted Dale, on winning this championship. You don't win in that style without having everything perfect on the car.
Thank you very much. We've been working so hard on this. We've not had a great season. We were doing well at the June sprints, and it just all came together today. It's absolutely fantastic. Thanks to Richard for all his work. And we've just spent so much time on this thing, and it's just all come round great.
But you had to be developing both the chassis and the motor.
Oh, yeah, we've been working on it for 2 years now, so apparently he wants me, the driver wants me, I've got to go.
There you go, mate. Celebrate. We'll see you in the pub.
All right, thank you.
Boy, I tell you what, the 5th and 6th Beetles I think we've heard from today, nicely done.
You can feel the excitement of those guys. You know, they work so hard on this car, and you know, able to run right up to the front.
Well, you know what? They run similar cars in Great Britain and in Europe in club racing over there. So this is not just the United States that this package is being utilized in, and they've come over here and proven they have got themselves a remarkable car. But this team has executed to perfection. Great pride there, and the gold medals are going to be awarded shortly. We'll be right back for it. Welcome back. Heartland Park, Topeka has just seen a remarkable performance by J.R. Osborne in the gold medal car. Biz?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of celebrating going on down here. JR, congratulations on your first championship. Here comes Bonnie with your gold medal. How's it feel, mate?
It's just, we've worked so hard for this. We put a crank in on Thursday night. We were ready to go home. We were just devastated, and I gotta thank God for this one, because he's given us great weather, kept the motor running good. Thank Richard Cottrell at Real Tech Racing. I mean, this thing has been the fastest thing all weekend. Last year we came here, we made one whole lap after 10 days just wanting to quit racing, and the highs and lows of racing, there's nothing like it. But I tell you what, we went out there, we knew what we had to do. We had to just get out there and stomp them for putting in 25, 26s, hopefully somewhere around there, kind of break their spirit, and then just put in a pace to make sure we finished. And it's awesome. Suzuki power, Real Tech power. This thing was the fastest thing all weekend.
Well, I tell you, JR also had a very fast driver in it. Okay, we know about the engine package. We know about the chassis. We've been talking to your people, but it was a great drive on your part. You never put a wheel wrong. That's hard to do with that much of a lead.
Yeah, you know, it's your mind starts wandering. You start making dumb mistakes, but I've been training my butt off for this, and training my mind, training everything I can. I've sacrificed everything for this win right here.
Congratulations.
Hey, thanks a lot.
That puts it in perspective what it means to win a runoffs championship in the Sports Car Club of America. You give it your all, and boy did they. And it was a dominant, the official margin of victory, 11.7 seconds for J.R. Osborne. Jaremko and Liberato very close. Joshua Held, Foyle, Gardner. Chris Farrell, he had been so quick, and but for that spin, who knows where he may have ended up. And then Tom Boots, the fastest of the non-stores, ended up with that problem and ended up in 16th. Let's get back down to San Diego's with Mark Jaremko.
Mark Jaremko, fabulous performance. You know, everybody said coming in, you were underpowered, you didn't have a shot, but just a finesse drive there for you.
Yeah, we knew we were coming in a little underpowered with the 03 Yamaha against the Suzuki's, but we have a very well-developed car with Store Racing Cars and with Lee Store and Wayne Felch, and I felt I could hold them off in the corners, but
you were passing back and forth, and
yeah, it was tough. It was tough. John Luke and I had a great race there at the end, and we caught a slower car in the chicane on the last lap, and I lost momentum, and he got back by me, and then I outbroke him in 10, and it was a close race. I'm glad it's over.
Having John Luke come up behind you like that, knowing there weren't a lot of options for you.
Yeah, he started ahead of me, and he got me at the start, and then I repassed him. I got him about halfway through, and then he was kind of inching up on me, but I was getting through traffic a little bit better. But he was right there. I mean, he's a good driver.
You two put on quite a show. So you're silver medalist Mark Jaremko. Let's go to Biz with Jean-Luc.
Well, Jean-Luc, we just heard Mark's description of what was going on those last few laps. How did you see it, man?
Well, I tell you, it was very close racing. I'm definitely got him on horsepower. I've also seemed to have him through the faster stuff, but he's got me through the mechanical, the slower in the back. And I was able to get, he was able to get around me through traffic, and then I was able to get back around him once. He got me again. It was a really great battle.
Any blocking going on back there? Friendly blocking?
Yeah, a little friendly blocking going on, but you know that's part of it. This is the runoffs, and you know the last couple laps. Nothing that I would complain about.
There you go. Congratulations on your bronze. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
You bet. We just watched that replay again, and Liberato out-dragged him, and when it came down to it, Jaremko out-deeped him.
Yeah, he did out-deep him. He drove down there in the straightaway just as deep as you can go, and I can't believe he made it stick, but he did, and got second place out of it.
Yeah, absolutely fabulous. Another medal for Jaremko. Take a look at that cameraman. We have had some amazingly awful weather in terms of rain and the like. Our crew has been spectacular. The camera people out in it, down in the pit lane, the camera folks, and of course everybody in the truck that have been dealing with all of this action, these races, the graphics, the whole thing. This crew is spectacular as the racing is, and I just wanted to make sure we got in a big thanks to the crew that we are very lucky to work with. And me, Danny, it's been great to work with you again, and John and Sandy down in the pits, thanks so much. And thank you, everybody, for joining us all here at the Runoffs. It's been a treat. Congratulations, J.R. Osborne, and take care, everybody.